What's that, Skip? Shauno's talking about Supercoach again. Let's go. G'day everybody, it's Shauno again, and I'm back with some more Supercoach content. Today we're going to be doing our round 16 trades and captains videos, and we're going to be talking about how trades are gold. So in this video, we'll go through and talk about what's best for you guys and girls out there in the community in the way of trades and captains for round 16. So before we get on with that, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate all the support, so that would be awesome if you could do that for me. Like the video if you like the video, and leave me a comment down below. And one last thing, don't forget to join my Discord, and when we do our live video on Thursday, if you would like, you can put your team in where it says post my team here, and we'll pop your team up on the screen and we can have a chat about it. So hopefully you will all join me then. This week, the Thursday video will be in around between the morning or lunchtime, depending on where you are in Australia watching it. So, all right, let's get on with the video. So these are my trades. As usual, we go through my trades this week. Sinclair being injured, I think is going to be the big talking point. So we're going to get to that. So for me, by the sounds of it, it sounds like it could be out potentially for the rest of the season. The injury list hasn't come out yet, but from all accounts, it is a serious calf injury. And so it sounds like he's going to be out for quite some time. If I did hear he was only going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks, I potentially could hold. But if it's any longer than that, I think it's pretty much a must trade. So Sinclair out and Anderson in. For me, why I'm doing this, I'm very low on trades. I only have 4 trades before this trade. So I wanted to get in one of the best guys, and the 2 guys I was considering were Nasiah Wanganeen-Malera, but he has a bye this week, or Noah Anderson, and who I think is in some really good form, and I think the game suits him really now. So he was my preferred choice just because he doesn't have the bye this week, so I will get his score this week. Might help me win my league matches. I know my opponent has him, so that was another reason to get him, even though I still think I'll probably lose my league, but better to have him than to not have him. And going forth in the season, I think it will be pretty good. I did have another option. It leaves me a little bit light in my other fields. If you have a look when we get the team back to full running next week, when we are running with the full complement of players. Oh, nope, we're going to go here. I'll show you what the team will look like. Pickett will come on for Edwards. And so we will have a full complement of defenders, which will look like Holmes. Takes a little bit of time to think about it. Supercoach Day. There we go. We got Holmes, Ash, Whitfield, Wilkie, Clark, and Dacos. We already had a extra defender as we got in Whitfield last week. And so that's why with Sinclair going out, it wasn't well, it's always a big deal when you don't have many trades and you're getting injuries, but we had coverage in the back line. We had Holmes in the midfield, so we just swung Holmes back into the back line. Then we've got Butters, Anderson, Bont, Dacos, Callahan, Rao, and Walsh. And then we will run one of Kahan or Hall Kahan, Fitzgerald, or Sharp. We will loop if we can to try and get the best one on for this position. Grundy, Jackson, Sheasel, Horn, Francis, Petrarca, Pickett, Durham. Then we'll be running the rookie in Mitch Pod, which is the equivalent of my flex position, because in my flex I have a gun as in Max Gawn. So we're thinking that this score is a score that's probably not going to count every week. Would we like to have a premium in either this spot or this spot? Yes, we would, but we just don't have the trades to do it at the moment. So my options were to either go up for a big dog like a Noah Anderson or Wanganeen-Malera, or to go on the cheaper side of things like say someone, around the 500K mark, and then try and upgrade this spot. But if I was to do that, it would only leave me one trade. And so if I'm only going to leave myself one trade, I want to do that later on the season, just in case there are more injuries. I still have, coming after this week, there will be 4, including this week. There's 5 weeks until the Supercoach finals. So I want to give myself the best chance to make it into those finals. If I don't, that pretty much is my season burnt with my, bad overall rank and not making the top 8 of the finals. That will be my Supercoach season over. All right, crew. So that was my thinking for my team. Now let's have a little bit of talk about your team. As usual, we're going to do the rookies first. If you need a rookie this week, so I think the 2 to choose from are pretty obvious. You got your 99K rookies. You got Kai Anand from Richmond. Hope I said that right, my friend. Negative 66 break even. He's not setting the world on fire when it comes to scoring, but he is doing a job at 66 and 60. And, that's actually pretty good for a rookie. You'll take that every day of the week, to be honest, from a 99K rookie. He's predicted to go up 45K, even if he gets a 36. If he was to get another 60, not a 300. If he gets a 300, he's going to do pretty well. But if he gets another 60, he will go up 50K. So at this time of year, it's probably a good discussion that if you're low on trades like me, you're not really buying a rookie to make money. You're more buying him to facilitate a upgrade somewhere else and to provide coverage. I think this gentleman has a reasonable job security. I think it's a reasonable job security. And playing for Richmond because they've got a lot of injuries. So, yeah, there we go. And the other one is Mitch Pod in a forward line. If you need someone in the forward line, again, he's not going to be a super high scorer. He needs goals to get a decent score. He's got a 52 and a 45, but we don't have much choice in the forward line. If you need to downgrade in the forward line, he's going to be your man. Also looks like he has a very good job security. And the last one, Xavier Bambert. I'm not the biggest fan of this one, but he is an option. He's only scored 40 and 56 in the playing for Port Adelaide. So I wouldn't say his job security is as good as the others, but he is a warm body. Now, there are others. So you might want to take in. I wouldn't go Joel Fitzgerald this week because he's on the bye. But if Marcus Herbert is named, now I'd prefer if you wait on him and have a look at him for another week. But I think he could be potentially the best scorer out of all of them. He got a 75 the first week. He's playing in that kind of back line, the Tom McCarthy role at West Coast. Now, Tom McCarthy could be back this week, which will be interesting to see what the team looks like when they're both in the team. And also if Lindsay plays as well. It would be good to see the matchups there. But he is a mature age guy, big body, and the Eagles kind of need a little bit of help back there in defense. They're kind of a bit of an injury ravaged back there right now. So there's a good chance that he gets, another game. I think most of us should already have Hall Kahan if he is not already. Not too sure why they're not giving us Hall Kahan. If we have a look at him, he's already gone up in money, but if you haven't got him at 176, I'd probably be going one of the 99K guys. You really need to pick him up last week, but he could be very good after scoring the 96 this week. So maybe if you missed him and you've got trades in the bank and you've got a bit of money, you could go him. So I think whether you're trading or not this week really depends on what you are doing. It's probably a fine week not to trade. If you don't have either of those rookies and you need downgrades, I think that is fine. Like I said, though, I think if you need a midfield rookie, I would really be waiting till next week if you don't already have Herbert or Fitzgerald and picking them up next week. Things do happen. People do get injured in training. People do get dropped. So going them early when you don't have to, is probably could hurt you. So it's not going to hurt your overall score too much to upgrade, in the future. When it comes to I guess now is a good chat. Now, with Sinclair, Sinclair is on the bye this week, as we discussed. If it's more than 3 or 4 weeks, if it was 3 or 4 and you were looking to win your leagues like I am, there's a potential to hold because he'll be back for the league finals. But as far as we are aware so far, they're saying it's going to be longer than that. We haven't seen the injury list yet. So if it's anything longer than that, I think it's a must trade, whether you are going for overall or for leagues. If you're going for overall and you've got the trades, probably more than about 7 or 8 trades, I'd just be trading him and getting in somebody who we can talk about now. Who are the Sinclair options? So if you are going straight defender, so the Sinclair options on average, why is this less than 3 matches? There we go. So Mark Keane came out and smashed a 133 in that back roll in at Adelaide, but he's only played 1 game. So, and Josh Worrell is also out of the team. So I think you can't take that to heart. He hasn't scored too many scores this big over his career. So I think I wouldn't be looking. I'd at least want to have a look at him for 1 more game if you were considering it. Holmes, if you haven't got Holmes, get him in. Nasai Wanganeen Malaria, here's a great talking point. Here's one that I would have liked. He's got the DPP. He's on fire. He looks like he's everywhere. With Sinclair out of the team, could even help him score better. He could go back and start taking even more kick-ins than he has been anyway. The only thing is, yes, will more tags come? I think if he's playing that back role, there'll be, they're less inclined to tag him. But still, I mean, if you've got the option to put a forward tag on him, even if he's playing in the back line, I think teams are going to have to probably wake up and start doing that. But I still think he is almost, if you're a serious super coach and you can get him in your team, you probably want him in the team for the rest of the season. John Noble was a little bit down, I believe, in the last couple of weeks, just last week or last couple of weeks. So it's only really the last week. So he has got a big break even. So if you could wait a week and pick him up next week, or you could just grab him this week. He has been on absolute fire. He's got in the last, since round 7, his lowest scores are a 99, an 84, and an 87, but he's also got a 161 and a 152 and a 132 and a 129. So I think he is a fair replacement for Sinclair. You need to find about 80k somewhere. Lockie Ash is still pretty good value at 340. If you don't have him, I think he is a good replacement. Archie Roberts is still at. Luke Parker, if you need someone on the cheaper side, I like those other names that we talked about better, but I still think I can see a world where if you need to facilitate an upgrade somewhere else maybe, or you're running a little bit of lower money, that you could grab Parker. And he's got that mid defense option as well, the DPP. So if worse comes to worse, if you've got enough trades, you can always be like your 23rd primo or even your 24th primo if you're in that luxury situation. Lockie Whitfield, I know he's had a couple of down weeks. I'm still backing him to come back. I got him in last week at 520, and I thought that was a bit of a bargain. At 500, I think he certainly still is a bargain. It's a little bit up and down into his role. Basically last week, he lost his kick-ins and played up the field a little bit. Not too sure if they're going to persist with that, but we know if he does go back to the old role of kick-ins, he is a absolute beast. So I think at 500k, I think he's a pretty good option still. Another very good option is Nick Blake. He has a very good run coming through the rest of the season. At 509k, I think he's good value. He can get you the big scores. I think he is also one of those ones that I think it's a very good option. Wayne Malera, I'd stay away from this with Keane and Worrell, and they've got so many guys back there now, Adelaide. I think it's going to be 1 week. Every week one of them's not going to have the best game, and you're not going to be able to pick which one it is. Bodie Hewland is a sneaky pick at 510, especially with Rioli getting injured. He might get a little bit more of the ball. If you wanted a far-out pod, he's only owned by 2.6%. So, but I think there are safer options like Blakey is also owned by 6.4%, so not a great amount. And John Noble's only owned by 7.1%. So there are some other ones there. Bailey Dale is on the bye this week. Callum Wilkie is also on the bye this week. Both good options. If you wanted to wait a week and see what's going on with Sinclair and then pick up one of those guys, I could definitely get behind that. I know Wilkie had made a bit of a comeback this week after a bit of a down game the week before, and Dale has a lot of games at Marvel for the rest of the season, and he loves that. They're both decent options. A lot of people talk about Sicily. I did have somebody ask me about Sicily in my chat because I kind of skipped over him last week. And he's a reasonable option, but he can deliver these lower scores. I don't think they need him to swing forward like they did a little bit last year. But it also, not only can he get these slightly lower scores, but he is prone to doing stupid stuff and getting suspended. He gave away a 50-meter penalty in the first quarter last week, which was kind of unnecessary. And when I was watching the scores, I didn't even see the scores take it off him, but maybe they did. But I was looking for the free kick against, and I couldn't see it. And his score didn't seem to go down. So I don't know if he was lucky that the score wasn't taken against him or it was done maybe after I saw it. Jaden Short has actually been on fire, this year, but he's dropped a little bit the last few weeks. He's gone 60, 60, 98 after scoring, pretty good. He'd almost got, a couple other 60s there. He seems to get a few 60s here, but he's also capable of a 120. So at a much cheaper option, he could be a go, but I think there are better options. There isn't too many others that I would be considering. I mean, Darcy Wilmot, if you knew Zorko and Kitty Coleman weren't going to come back and take kick-ins, he would be a great option. He's owned by, a low percentage, but I just think there is a bit of question about his role as well. Dacos, do not get Dacos. I owned him. He was very lucky to get this 92 last week. And I don't really think there are too many other options for defense. If you're thinking about someone else that I haven't mentioned, let me know down there in chat, just like my friend did about Sicily last week and asked why I don't rate him. If you had to ask me who would I want, I'd really be wanting, if you don't even got one of the big dogs like, Holmes or Ash or Wanganeen Malera, I'd be wanting them. Obviously, Holmes and Wanganeen Malera, I'd be getting them after their bye. I'd just be, maybe getting in a rookie if you need that to facilitate it, if you've got the trades this week, and getting in one of those rookies on the bubble, waiting a week, taking your best 18, and then coming out of the buys with the best player possible. If you needed someone who wasn't playing this week, I like Whitfield, I like Blakey, I like Noble. They're probably the guys that I would be going for, I would think, if I had my way. But maybe your team's a little bit more like my team. Maybe you've got a bit of DPP action. Maybe it's Hawk Kahan. Maybe it's somebody else back there in the back line, and you can get a mid for Sinclair, or maybe you just want a mid this week. So let's have a look who, and we're not going to get, since we're getting mids, we're not getting anybody who's coming into their buy. The only reason we consider that in the back line, which we're not really considering, I think you're much better, if you want a Wanganeen Malera or something, you just wait. You just wait until next week and cop it. So in for the mids, Isaac Heaney is back this week, 620, the most expensive mid on the market. I mean, if you've got the money, he's showing that he's very good, but paying up for players hasn't really worked this year. But at the same time, you want the best of the best in your team at this time of the year. Same as Dawson had a bit of a lower game this week, but he's still got a break even of 100, which he could reach easily. So these are two guys, both of those guys you would love to have in your midfield at the end of the season. Butters, we should all have Butters. Shears was for the forward line. Don't worry. Zach Merritt is an interesting one with Archie Roberts going down. You know, he's still right up there. So I think, he's still 7th and average out of everybody at the moment. So I still think he's a valid pick. I think at 520, he is cheap. I know his role is another one which has been a little bit up and down. Hasn't been scoring huge amounts in the last couple of weeks in the like Archie Roberts kind of role, but I still think he is a valid pick. Only owned by 18%. Now, Errol Goulden is also rumored to come back this week. Could you go there the first week he comes back? It would be a nice pod. If you're playing for the, top 100, top 10, even the number 1 position, jumping on a Goulden when nobody else has him could be a sneaky pod to get you a leg up on your opponents. Is a risk coming back from injury? Where's he going to get, is he going to be playing that full CBA role that he did before he got injured? Or they're going to, give him a little bit of a warm-up into the game type of thing, let him run the wings a little bit more. So I'd probably have a look at him for a week. He has got a 118 break even, so he's not going to get away from you if you want him. Now, well, I said I think one of my favourite picks here, if you can afford him, is Noah Anderson. He's just been on fire. His game really suits Supercoach. I think he's almost guaranteed to be a top 8 mid now. And if you look at his past scores, he hasn't gone below 100 since round 9. 145, 134, 126, 100, 126, 136. So he's capable of putting up those reasonable hundreds, big hundreds. And I think at this time of year, that's what you want in your team, players that can do that. I love the fact that he kicks more than he handballs, but he also marks and does a lot of other good stuff as well. So he's on the more expensive side, but if you want the best of the best, I think he is a valid pick, and that's why I'm getting him this week. He gets the Shauno's tick of approval. Lockie Neal, it's been a little bit down lately, but if you're looking for someone a little bit cheaper, I think it's fine. He what's he gone? 102, 138, and he's still got this 67s dragged around. So really dragged it down. Really before that, since round 4, he hasn't gone below 92. So if you're going to get him, this is probably the week to do it. He's got a break even of 74, which is going to get there. So I think at this price, he's really good value, and he's been one of the better midfielders this year. So I think it's a valid pick, and I think you could definitely jump on him at that price. LDU's been down a little bit the last few weeks, but he has also had a great season. He's about that same price as Lockie Neal, so I also think he is a good pick. Not too sure where this 58 came out of. He's been so good all year, and a lot of people bought him in the last few weeks, and he's delivered a couple of average scores, but I'm pretty sure he should bounce back to his, to his good self. Clayton Oliver, 525, I think it's good value. You know what you're going to get out of him. Will Day, still very cheap at 490. If you trust his body and hope that he can get a little bit more time on ground, he could be 100, He could be, at the moment, he's averaging 104, and I think he could definitely average that for the rest of the season. He's a very skillful player and doesn't need 1 million possessions to get a decent Supercoach score. And if he does get 1 million possessions, he's going to get a very big score. So obviously, if you don't have Dacos, we skipped over him. Get Dacos, 560. He's probably going to destroy Richmond this week. So he's another one. I mean, if you're going to pick the number 1 midfield, these are the guys that I would want in my midfield. And some of these guys I don't have, but these are the guys I would want. I want Heaney. I want Butters. I want Dacos. I want Dawson. I want Anderson. And then the others are all a bit, then it's take your pick. Oh, Bailey Smith. I want Bailey Smith, but not this week because he's on the bye. And I want Bont, but not this week if you don't have him because he's on the bye. That's the guys that I would be getting. And they're the guys I think you want in your midfield at the end of the season. Now, if you're a poor man like me and you can't afford them, you might have to consider, I think, Zach Merritt, a Lockie Neal, an LDU. I like all of those guys a little bit more than Clayton Oliver, just because I think they have a higher ceiling. Will Day, I like at his price. I'm still tempted to go there. If I had more trades and I could upgrade again next week to get a full team, I'd probably go Will Day this week. I'd probably have a look at him. Luke Parker, I don't know if we discussed him for the defense. I think we might have. I think as a very cheap option, he's okay, but his scoring could be very up and down. Tim Taranto, I think, is you probably got better options at this price just playing for Richmond. He's just going to find it hard to get a high ceiling, and some weeks when Richmond get flogged, he's going to get a low score. Jai Newcomb's been playing quite well at 516. I think there are better options though. 123, 136, but then before that he hadn't hit 100 for like 4 weeks. So that's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. Here's one I do kind of like, George Hewitt. I definitely considered him for my team. He had an absolute breakout season last season, and he's been a bit quiet this year, but he hadn't really been played in the role, which he should have been played. So since he's been back in around 11, so from around 11 when he's been getting bulk CBAs, 126, 90, 112, and 138. He is right around that mark. He's only owned by 0.3% of the competition. So I think this is a great pod. If you've got trades and you've got the money and you want to fill in like this be your M8 position, I think he is a great pick. Callahan, I still think is a decent pick as well. Also 525, a good value. There's lots of guys at these good values. Sam Walsh is a no, even at this price. He's just too up and down, inconsistent. I own him. Don't do it to yourself. Caleb Sarong, the same. The midfield in Freo, there's a lot of players going through there, so that's going to be a no as well. And Patrick Cripps, I think you got better options. He's been playing very well. Carlton have been playing very well the last few weeks. And same with Brayshaw. I think that I just don't trust the Fremantle midfield. Too many guys running through there. Nobody else to talk about. Don't get Rao at the moment until you see a change of form. All right, so I think that's midfielders. There was quite a lot there. What if I can give you any advice over the midfielders? Get the best of the best. And, you want as many of those top guys, which we talked about in your team, which you can afford. And then if you can't, then drop down to that next tier level, the George Hewitts, the Lockie Whitfield, the Lockie Neals, and the LDUs. All right, let's go through the rucks. Now, I've been saying, I think you don't want to go Tristan Cherry anymore. I think I've come to the conclusion that it's just going to be too much of a roller coaster ride. If you need a ruck, you want Grundy, Jackson, or Gawn, and that's it. Tristan Cherry could get you 150, but he could get you 60. They're obviously showing that they're not going to play him at centre bounces, and those centre bounces are going to, I think this week's score is reflective of what he's going to score most weeks. The week against the Eagles, he had those last-minute clutch intercept marks, which boosted his score from potentially 110 to 120 up to a 150. So I think around this 105. If you're looking for 105k play, go for it. But if you want one of the big dogs, it's going to, get you be more consistent and probably not have as low as floor as Sherry. I think you want a Jackson, a Grundy, or a Gawn. And I think out of those, Grundy isn't in the best form so far. Hopefully the rest he had last week makes he comes back and does very well. But right now, the two big dogs are Gawn and Jackson. They're the two that you want right now. Hopefully Grundy can come back and turn it around and get a run home like he did last season. We all remember his run home last season was absolutely amazing. So hopefully he can do that again. But right now, Jackson and Gawn, they are the men. And with Gawn on his bye, that means to me, the only ruck you really should be considering this week is Luke Jackson if you don't already own him. And okay, so that's the rucks. For forwards, again, let's just say, let's do the old, which 6 forwards do you really want in your team? So I think Sheasel, 100%. Petrarca, yes, I know he's been down a little bit, but I still think you're going to get him. If you don't have him, you might as well get him. Um, Josh Tracy, he's a key forward. He's going to get you these 75s, but he's been on absolutely great season and we're getting hundreds most weeks. So you can go there if you want. Just be aware this 75 might come, but I think this is going to be the case with most of these forwards. Then Jason Hall-Francis has been on a heater for the last couple of weeks after he delivered a few 70s. So again, he can deliver a 70, but he's playing a really good midfield role. So I would think he is a very viable option as well. Then the other ones, I think you've got on the bye, you've got Cossie Pickett, who, as we see, also had a bad week last week. But we know what he can deliver. I think with these forwards, you want to get the guys that can get the high ceilings. There's not too many consistent ones. If you're not looking at the Sheasel, even Petrarca's been down. If your name's not Harry Sheasel, you haven't been very consistent in the forward line. So I think you can throw a blanket over a lot of these guys. So if you've got Sheasel, Petrarca, Jason Horn-Francis, then having Tracy, Shea Bolton, Zach Bailey, even Bailey Williams. Toot Miller's been a bit down, but he might come back. He got slight uptick in CBAs again last week, but it didn't do his score much good. Even Tim Kelly has been sneaky okay. If you're saying, Shauno, are you crazy? He's been okay. He's got 108, 90, 105, got a 66, 115, 87, 121. So one score below 87 in since round 9, playing a midfield role. So, pretty like I just said, all these forwards are going to be, prone to dropping lower scores. You want to pick ones, though, that have a chance of getting high ceiling scores as well. Murphy Reed, reasonable pick. I really like Jordan De Goey. He's another one who, at the moment, he's playing a full midfield role. He's got 133, 72, but then a 117, a 111, a 98, a 127. So since round 9, only one score. We'll give him the 98. We'll call it 100. Below that, which was a 72, but otherwise decent scores, and he can get a 130 or a 120. Who are my preferred picks? Oh, we got Rank here at 476, which is pretty good value for him. He's got a high break even if you can wait a week, fill your midfield and your defenders up first. Had a pretty average season stats. Yep. 68, 60 years. So pretty average first week back, but he might be a little bit rusty. I still think he is definitely a potential for a top 6 forward, and at 476 is pretty good value, and he's going to be down there at that even lower value. These guys, which if you're desperate for like a Brent Daniels at 400, and we talked about, Darcy Byrne-Jones has also been a bit on fire, but I probably wouldn't go there. Joe Richards was still got the CBAs, but didn't do much with them. He still has the role, but got a 79. So if you're looking at that slightly cheaper, you got Joe Richards, Jagger Smith, and probably Brent Daniels, potentially even Connor McDonald, if you are struggling for money. But I think this next bracket, around the 450 ones, the Isaac Rankin, the Jordan De Goey, the Murphy Reed, the Tim Kelly, the Toot Miller, the Bailey Williams, the Zach Bailey, Shea Bolton. All of those guys I like in the 450 mark. So just grab whoever you like, basically, is what I'm saying. If you need a bit of a pod, pick the one with the lowest, lowest ownership, which would be someone like Tim Kelly, 3.1%. Probably wouldn't go Chad Warner. He's too up and down. So, yeah. So, pick who you like, but I think they're all going to score relatively the same average for the rest of the season. You'll get you some 70s. They might get you some 120s. Pick the guys that are capable of getting you the 120s. I think maybe Murphy Reed is more. He's got a higher. He can get you a 120. So, yep, he can do it. He can do it. So I think that is probably what we're going to talk about for trades. If you were thinking about anybody else that I missed, please let me know down below in the chat. It's probably going to be a lot less trade talk over the next few weeks. I will let you guys know. We might incorporate this video into the other video, into the trades and captains, into my round review as the season goes on and people lose interest and we don't have trades to make trades anyway. Or maybe we just call it a straight up captains video. But usually the captains are pretty quick, and so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to talk about who are the best captains and vice captains for the round. So you got Brisbane versus Sydney. If you've got Heaney, you could probably go Heaney. Sometimes, though, Brisbane do restrict the other team's midfield. So, sometimes they send Dunkley to them, to the best midfielder, and just kind of not so much a hard tag, but, run with him. And so maybe that might happen. So I don't know if I'm super keen on anybody in this game. And the rucks, they play, multiple rucks there at Brisbane. So Grundy hasn't shown the form yet to let us think that he is a safe pick. Hawthorn versus GWS. Again, two tough teams playing each other. Kind of negate any chance for really big scores or a dependable scores that we can count on. So I don't think I'd be going there either. Carlton versus West Coast. Don't love anybody from this game at all. Now here, I think if you, Collingwood versus Richmond, if you own Nick Dacos, you should almost definitely put the vice captain on Nick Dacos. He's coming off a 159. He loves playing Richmond. It's Richmond. Will Richmond tag? Probably not. He's got a 177, a 147, and a 109. I think you pretty much have to be, crazy not to give this a go as your vice captain. So if you own Nick Dacos, get the vice captain on him, have a look. And then after that, if that doesn't work out, then you've got some other choices. So Port Adelaide versus Adelaide, you could have a go at a Butters in the showdown. Could be a fairly tough game though. So, maybe they even give Butters a little bit of attention. So maybe not. Let's, what's his records like in the showdowns? 117, 124, and 117. So pretty good, nice, consistent, but no huge, massive scores. Then you got North versus Essendon. I don't think I'd be risking picking Sherry anymore. It's just too volatile. But I think my second favorite pick for this round is a Mr. Harry Sheezel. Versing Essendon, I think he could have an absolute field day. He got a 153 last week. So I think they're probably the safest picks. Everybody owns Sheezel. So if your vice captain fails, maybe you don't have Dacos and you're picking somebody else as your vice captain, I think you can easily fall back on Sheezel, and it's a pretty safe that you're going to get a decent score. The other one is Freo versus Gold Coast. I think as well as Sheezel, Jackson has been on fire. Maybe you would like to have another go at Jackson. He proved himself last week. He got 176. There is talk coming out of the Gold Coast camp that they have a plan for Luke Jackson this week. I don't know what that plan could be. Sniper in the change rooms before the start of the game. I don't know what the plan is, but I don't know if Witts or Moyle or whoever they've got down there can actually stop Luke Jackson. So I think he is still a reasonably safe pick, and I think Sheezel is a reasonably safe pick as well. So I don't think anybody else I would be considering for captain choices, and considering most of us will have Dacos and Sheezel, and a lot of people have Jackson, I think I don't need to go into it anymore. So I hope everybody liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subbed. Once again, Really appreciate everybody out there supporting me, or your guys and girls will optimize the team. So you can have a bit of a look at the team, why I get through this. Don't forget to like the video if you like the video. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below and let me know who are your trades this week. I'd love to know how many trades you have and how much money you have in the bank as well. Are you a pauper with no trades like me, with 3 trades and only 60K in the bank? Or are you like my friends that have like 10 trades and boosts and $1 million in the bank? So let me know. I'd be very interested to know that. And one last thing, don't forget, join that Discord. We'll do our live video. It'll either be, depending on where you are, it'll be Thursday morning or around lunchtime. And we'll throw your team, if you like it, up at the screen. You just put it in the Discord where it says post my team here, and we'll have a chat about it. Or you can literally just brag about how good you're doing. So those are always my favorite videos of the week. So I look forward to seeing everybody in that video. Hope you all have a really good week, and I will talk to you very soon.